Welcome back. Let's switch gears from security, politics to technology, but this time using technology to resolve issues around education and even going deeper to close the gender gap by focusing on the girl child. And who else is doing this than the founder of SheSolves Africa, Abigail Anaza Mark. She's right here in our Lagos studio. Abigail, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So when I looked at the name of your organization, SheSolves Africa, I'm just curious, how many problems are you solving? I know you're driving this through technology and you're using education as a pathway, but what in specific are you dealing with here? What are the gaps you saw or you're seeing, and then you're passionately following to say, okay, this is where the metrics is at the moment. This is where we're going to in, say, 5, 10, whichever number of years.
All right, thank you so much. So speaking of gaps, the UNESCO has statistics that show that 35% of all graduates from STEM fields are women, just 35%. And for Nigeria, the data is 22%. And as much as it may be in a city like Lagos, where you think there are so many women in the tech ecosystem, so what are we still fighting for? If you go to deeper or more rural communities or suburban areas or states that are not as developed as Lagos, you see that these disparities even in the classroom still exist. So SheSolves Africa was established to nurture young women, not just to be another set of teachers in the classroom, but to support their growth through experiential learning, through mentorship, through research, and also futures thinking and foresight, helping them to think of the problems of today, how their classroom concepts of science can be applied to addressing them, and also imagining things or anticipating trends that can happen in the future.
That's brilliant, but I want you to do some specific. Yesterday I was trying to do something. I was on a video call on my WhatsApp, but I also needed to link my phone to the system so that I can map it and do all of that. I just thought to myself, I said, perhaps this improvement, I don't know how long it has lasted, the woman would have designed it because they are better at multitasking. You know, we are like that. So what in specific, because that's what I want you to speak to in this, you talked about the fact that it's not just for classroom and all of that. You talked about STEM and the numbers and all of that. So what in specific are you dealing with? Are you trying to improve people in, say, computing? Just something specific I would like to know.
Okay, so I'd say that a lot of organizations already focus on teaching girls how to code. So we are not just doing that kind of work. What we are doing basically is project-based learning. So for one of our projects that we did, we challenged girls in secondary schools in Oyo State, for example, to think about challenges in their communities that they are not happy with and that they wish they had the superpowers to solve. And most of them brought up indiscriminate dumping of plastic waste. And we said, okay, so what do we do next? And we started to think. They suggested different solutions. How do we help people dispose of their waste properly? Also, how do we even convert this waste into something more useful? And we went on to say, since we have already suggested this, let's get to work. So we employed the use of geographic information systems, that's GIS technology, to map out the various places where we are collecting waste from across the University of Ibadan and also St. Anne's School, Molete. And we did that for a period of 30 days. So for everywhere we are collecting waste, we are already settling something in the mind of the people we are collecting waste from, that there's a concept like sorting your waste, which they most likely are not used to. So we're collecting just plastic waste basically and educating them to not just dump it with others. Then we were using GIS to collect data on how many plastic waste are we collecting from you per day. So we are already monitoring your consumption pattern. Oh, you took 5 sachets of water yesterday, you're taking 6 tomorrow. And in the long run, which was something we didn't plan to do, we were able to see that for like a pure water production plant, at some point when we were doing our projects, we were able to say, oh, since this is what your map is saying, your GIS map is saying, these people, all of these people get water from us, but we are seeing that a lot more people here are taking plastic packaged water, that's like pure water, and these people are taking less. So it's helped them to understand how people are consuming.
It helps with marketing.
Yes, and marketing and production. Beyond that, we now told the students, oh, we collected 7,000 plus units at the time in just 30 days. What do we do with it? and we decided to start transforming those plastic waste into trash tiles.
Right.
In the process of doing that, we measured tensile strength of that trash tile, how much of pressure you have to exert on it before it starts to disintegrate, chromatography in the process of coloring. So we're just able to bring science concepts into real life for the girls to be able to relate with it better.
Beautiful.
That's great to hear. Let me first start with the point I always like to make, especially when people finish from University of Ibadan, right? First and the best.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, guys. I just had to do
I
that.
have nothing to say to you.
So we always do that on the show. But I'm very intrigued by the work you're doing. And I want you to speak to something. Women are built different. Men are built different naturally, and then the coming together of the different builds is meant to develop our world and ensure that we have a better world,
Definitely.
right? But we got here because over the decades, centuries, we've neglected women. It's like a vehicle built run on 2 engines, running on just 1 engine.
Yeah.
After a while, it just grows weak and then starts malfunctioning. And I think that's what's happening with the world. But with what you're doing now with technology, what I always like to find out is technology is expensive. I imagine it's expensive. So as a people, looking at the what we earn, our earning power, our GDP, our per capita, first speak to us now, straightforward. Are we able to afford technology as it is, really? And if we want to really play the game for a long term, how do we get funding to sustain this, or innovation to help to get funding to sustain this?
All right, thank you for that. And that's really a beautiful question. I would say that as individuals, because in the end, when you are doing this kind of projects, you can put out all of the beautiful technologies. If the people at the end users are unable to afford it, then you're just doing some grand things. And that's where the concept of human-centered design comes to play. So with regards to technology being affordable, a lot of people still cannot afford it. And that's why in tech, we advocate for I don't know the terminology to use now, but low-end technology, I think that's what to say. So some of the things that we do, the learnings that we offer to young people, most of them have smartphones, at least they can afford that. So we leverage low-end technology like WhatsApp to keep delivering our classes. And thankfully, there are chatbots now where you can automate learning, and students just by the click of things, answering questions, they can just learn a whole concept on their own. So those are things that we explore from our end to ensure that we are still able to deliver learning to students. When we are looking at technology affordability, it's important that people who design the solutions think of the people who are going to use it. Don't just think about Lagos. Don't just think about Abuja and Port Harcourt. These people may have the capacity to buy it. But when we are thinking about technology being an enabler, it's not just having a few, but creating real impact for the larger audience. And some of the ways some of the things that designers have to put into consideration is what's the technology, internet connectivity bandwidth. So if I'm designing a solution, I should have, like, you know how maybe Picnic has larger size, you have Refuel, you have those small ones. So I have my content for the people in Lagos. I have the one that can work on a feature phone where they just use SMS. I have the one that can work on WhatsApp where they still have maybe 3G and can learn on. So it's very important that inclusion is put into consideration when designing, because technology has come to stay, but we just need to keep innovating for people at where they are in their journeys.
Instructive answer that you've provided there. And Kayade's question on affordability of technology is quite important because of the number of practitioners in that space, I mean of edtech companies. I saw a report just in the last 10 hours of a particular education technology company that had to return a seed funding of $3.2 billion. Well, you're nodding in acknowledgement already. And listen to their challenges. They face fundamental adoption challenges, including limited internet penetration, high device cost, declining disposable income that undermine its target audience ability to pay for digital education services. Now that speaks to the challenges that practitioners like you face. I'd like you to speak to that and what can be done really to reach out to those who can afford the intervention of paying for these people that do not have disposable income, and I mean the government now. What options are left for you when you face these challenges?
All right, thank you. I think you're trying to pull something out of me that I didn't want to talk about. So I've worked in the distribution sector, EdTech distribution sector, and some of the ways that we try to distribute EdTech solutions to people who are in far, hard-to-reach communities is through maybe organizing a festival in different cities and getting them to work, engage hands-on with these solutions, and seeing how we can also collaborate with internet service providers, see how we can collaborate with original equipment manufacturers to say, can you subsidize the prices of this thing because we are just using it for education? Airtel, can you have a subscription that is specific just for learning so that people in this rural community can have access to it? And thankfully, organizations like MasterCard Foundation and also the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are already sponsoring EdTech. So in EdTech, the EdTech ecosystem, we say education is a very wicked problem because students are the ones consuming, parents are the ones that have to pay, they are buying textbooks. There are so many things that they consider. School leaders are scared of increasing charges because, like you said, earning power is reducing, and parents are like, why are you increasing our school fees? Oh, we're using technology. How does it affect me? So what I would just say to organizations like the MasterCard Foundation, they've invested for 2 years and the third year ongoing in 12 startups each in Nigeria, in Kenya, in South Africa, through different implementing partners. What I would say is, let's take a step backwards. Let's look at what works with regards to research and not what we think can work, what has proven to work, and then let's see how we can support them a lot more. So if an organization has taken $100,000 and they've been able to make things work a bit, then support them more rather than just supporting grand ideas.
Okay.
That's not bad, but if something has already proven to work, can we support it a lot more?
So support results, not effort, right?
And in all of this, there's no government.
Yes, brilliant. So support, though. That's our story. I'm sure one day the government is going to wake up. That's why people are angry that as soon as something works, they come at us to come and collect taxes. Like they may come and collect taxes on solar panel.
Okay.
I don't know. Abigail
Anaza,
Mark, it's just fun to talk to you. Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming. Founder, SheSolves Africa. Indeed, you're solving Africa. Now I can agree. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll switch gears. So another part of the conversation. Join us again in just a moment.